Well, look at me. Welcome to another Thoughts of Leith, and guess what? You know, I've been talking about other things that I had coming in the mail, and so we're going to have to unbox them so I can show you some more of what are likely more books in a couple of read piles and or reference piles. Reach down here and get my scissors. You guys are used to this. You see how I do this. So here I go. This one. Actually, you know what? I'm saving this for last because I don't think that's a book. This one, I'm pretty sure is a book. And look, I don't even have to cut because, wow, it's not even well put together. Well, whatever. This is the sort of thing that you have to suffer through when you're opening a lot of cardboard things. Okay, look what we got here. Remember the, here, let me show it to you. I'll pull it out here. Remember the colonial architecture book that I got the other day? That's right there in my reference pile over on that side, which you can't see. This is Home Building and Woodworking in Colonial America. So this is the how-to stuff. You know, I'm not too much of a DIY guy, but you know, if I get that kind of house that I'm looking for, I might try some stuff. You know, I did some stuff with my stepdad when I was younger, some carpentry stuff, and laid down some concrete, did some roofing, and some, you know, basic plumbing and stuff. I've done this stuff. I'm not good at it, you know. I wouldn't, if you needed it and I was going to do it, I wouldn't charge you for it because my work wouldn't be worth that much. It would be effective, but it probably wouldn't be pretty. But I did just like to know, in case I did get an old house, particularly because a lot of old houses have rules on what you can do and what you can't do. I just thought it would be nice to see how they did it back in the olden days, and maybe do that stuff. And you know, a lot of cool old style tools and things in here. So that's going to be a reference types thing, not only for if I actually have to do anything. I mean, that's, let's be honest, I'm probably not going to. I'm probably going to hire a contractor, right? But if I am, if you've read my writing, that's sort of historical fantasy, a lot of it is very, you know, I talk about in Goodly Creatures, I talk a lot about the architecture of the homes, and you know, the way that they whitewash during the summer to keep the heat off, and then the whitewash washes off for the black bricks during the winter, and then that helps keep the heat in. So that sort of stuff fascinates me. I like to put it into fiction to give it that sort of sense of realness. You know, that's the sort of real thing that real people think about. So if your fiction has that in it, all the better. So having little reference books like that so you get these details straight. Normally, when it comes to stuff like that, authors tend to focus on things like how did people sail a ship, or what were weapons really like, what were social customs really like, and they focus on that. But architecture is also important, at least to me. Now this goes into my you know, colonial first sources type of read pile. This is the journal, and this, by the way, I'm creating a new read pile beyond the sort of a mid-Atlantic colonial. My new read pile, which I'm going to get into whenever I get done with the first one, is about the stagecoach system in the early colonial period, where stagecoaches would take you back and forth between settlements or to taverns, and a lot of it of what I'm fascinated here is with not just the journey itself, but with the different taverns and how people actually stayed in these taverns. Like a lot of times, you might be surprised to know this, but you show up at a tavern where they also have rooms for you to stay overnight. You don't necessarily get a room by yourself. Imagine if you went to a hotel and you had to sleep in the same room or the same bed as a stranger. Well, back in the 1700s in the colonies, that was how it was. So this is the journal of Sarah Kemble Knight, and where she travels around and she talks about what, you know, life on the road and meeting other people. And it's fairly short. I mean, this isn't going to be a hard read, but It's fascinating stuff, and I just want to get into it and learn as much as I can. And that's a good one because that's actually her words, so it's straight from the horse's mouth, or rather, the person who was benefiting from the horse's labor. Right? I'm going to go all pedo on you. Okay, this isn't a book. This is one of the things I was hoping to unbox last, and yet I just ripped the stupid package open because I wasn't thinking. I was too busy making a stupid joke about a horse. This is turmeric soap. And turmeric has wonderful anti-aging, allegedly, anti-aging effects on the skin. So I just thought, you know what, if you're going to have soap, don't just get soap that smells good, although this smells really good. You might not like the smell of turmeric, but I like it. Wow. Oh, I like that so much. But you know, you might as well be doing something more than just making your nose happy. You make your skin happy too. So hopefully, and I'm going to put this aside so that I can take this into the bathroom later. You know, and since I already did that, let me go ahead and grab this one because I suspect this has... I bought two different types of turmeric soap. One of them to use as a hand soap, and one of them to use as a body soap. And I suspect that the other one is in here. So let's find out. And I am correct. This is turmeric, and it also has clove in it. And clove, I thought, I bought this mainly because I was curious, because when I think of clove, I don't really think of something that you want to put in soap. A lot of scents or a lot of spices work with soap. Clove, I was a little skeptical of. I'm still a little skeptical of. I don't know if I want to go around smelling like a Christmas ham all day long. But I will. And if someone says, you smell like dinner, you smell like Easter dinner, then I'll be like, well, I got to get rid of the clove soap. Don't I? I do. I'm making a huge mess here with my... Okay, this one looks like I can just... No, I can't, because they put the shipping label right over the thing you're supposed to pull in order to open it. So, thank you, thoughtlessness. Can I do it this way? Yes, I can. All I got to do is just yank open the adhesive on this, although I don't have a good grip on it. Surprisingly, considering that the other thing, the adhesive just popped right off, this one didn't want to do that. And these are two books. Books. They're books that don't smell good. They definitely smell worse than that clove soap, I can tell you that. This one goes back into the Stagecoach Tavern one, because this is, wow. Okay, I want to save this because this is hilarious what happened here. That book's going to have to be returned. This is Stagecoach and Tavern Days by Alice Morse Earl, and it's a reprint of a book. It's from clearly from a scan and a PDF, and they just printed it in here, but that's fine. I don't care about that, so long as it looks good, and it does look good. It simply is a very, very detailed investigation into the thing I was talking about earlier, Stagecoach, the Stagecoach Tavern system. Now, this was supposed to be, as you can see, the New England Almanac, or Ladies and Gentlemen's Diary, for the year of our Lord Christ, 1766, calculated for the meridian of Providence in New England. Well, what that is it had a lot of details about taverns and roads, and it would tell you, well, you know, it takes X number of hours to get from Boston to this tavern, and from that tavern to the next settlement, and blah blah blah. Right? Fascinating. So I open it up, and what do I see? Some kind of manual on. Let's see what the title is. They printed. This is one of those things. This is actually the actual book that's printed inside. Practical Web Scraping for Data Science, which is fascinating, but not what I bought. So now I'm going to have to return this book. I mean, unless I paid like $2 for it or something, I'm not going to waste my time with that. And order this book again. See, that's the problem with these places that just print stuff. Even the back is like relive history with 18th century collections online. And of course, inside it's Wait! Stop the music! This isn't over. This isn't just a unboxing, it's a podcast, because for some reason OBS just stopped my recording in the middle of what I was doing, and I don't know why. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm on an old laptop. Well, it's not an old laptop. It's a previous laptop. I mean, I must have 5 laptops lying around here where I keep replacing them, and I keep the old ones, even though I have a huge, external storage unit for all my stuff. There's nothing on these old laptops. I don't know why I keep them. Well, I keep one of them around because, weirdly, even though I had to replace it to get this one, once this one started to act all wonky, the old one works better. But I actually recently, right now, as we speak, my new laptop, my brand new laptop, which I got about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, is right now downloading software so that I can build it back up. I mean, this is the annoying thing about having to replace laptops, is I have to build this new one up with all of my old software, including OBS, Magix, all of the, I haven't even started getting into all my Office products. Oh my God. But so this one's been acting really wonky, and I'm assuming that the premature end of the last podcast is part of that. What did I do with that book? I finished the podcast with that messed up book and set it someplace. Oh, there it is. It's out of my reach. I'm not even going to try to reach for it. It's right there. But what had happened was that whoever prints these books, I'm sure they print them on demand. They get an order and they put them out. And so what they did is they had printed the correct cover, but they had included inside the text for a guide on data scraping for Python, which is interesting, but is not what I wanted. So I'm going to have to reorder that book and send a harshly worded email to the original shipper. Not really. I mean, if I paid, I imagine, a lot of these books are things that I scoop up because they're super cheap. And so I see something and I'm like, oh, wow, you're only charging me like $1 for that? $3, $4? That's what, a coffee? I'm not going to break someone's bones over coffee. But I do have to order that again, and maybe return it, maybe not. Maybe I can find someone who's interested in data scraping with Python and just say disregard the cover. It's weird. You can actually put it on your shelf if you're like a code guy, but you want to kind of get some, some niche nerd cred. You can put that in your shelf, and people will think, oh, he's also interested in the Stagecoach dynamic in colonial times. And, who knows? Someone might go, oh, that's really cool. Just don't pull the book out of the shelf and look at it. Long story short, this isn't the first time this happened to me. Back in the old days when they used to have these record clubs, and you would join a club, and then they would send you, cassette tapes of the latest hot album. I had ordered, what was it that I actually ordered? I think it was a Foreigner. Was it a Foreigner album? I'm dating myself because you're like, Foreigner? When was the last time they put out an album? I don't know what it was, what I wanted to get. It may have been Def Leppard, it may have been Foreigner. But when I got the cassette, the outside of the cassette said all the right stuff. I put it in, pushed my little button as you used to do back in the olden days. And what started playing out of it was I Love a Rainy Night. I love a rainy night, what a beautiful sight. Not anywhere near what I had ordered. So what they had done is they had packaged it in the right cassette, but when they had recorded it, they had recorded the wrong album on there by a completely different person. Which is, the weird thing is I also like that. I can't think of the guy's name right now who did that. But I also like that Eddie Rabbit. Is that who it is? Eddie Rabbit? I don't know. But so I kept it, and then I just reordered the thing I actually wanted, and then I had this weird cassette that said one thing. I remember taking a red marker and marking it so that I would know which one was the actual one. So apparently now I'm having a deja vu moment where I'm having the exact same thing happen to me, but in book form. This podcast is so fouled up. I think I'm going to call this podcast the Fouled Up Unboxing. And if you've already seen the Fouled Up Unboxing as the title of this, then this is the moment where that happened. I kind of like when weird things like this happen. Because, you know, it adds a little spice to life. If everything went perfectly, how boring things would be. So anyway, if you like watching my life goof up like this, randomly, which it has twice in a row, 2 podcasts in a row, well then, you know what? Like this, share it so your friends can laugh at me, and subscribe, because this is not going to be the last time this happens. And you'll see more thoughts and screw-ups of Leith. And now it's screwing up. It won't even stop recording.